It's Friday night, and your phone is in your hand. You scroll your contacts and text no one. So why does a sharp mind so often sit alone? It isn't that you can't talk to people. You can hold a room when you want to. You solve hard problems that make other people freeze. And still, the circle stays small. A handful of names, maybe fewer. The easy answer is that you're antisocial or too proud to reach out. But that answer falls apart the moment you look closely. Plenty of quiet, proud people have crowded lives. Plenty of warm, open people end up alone anyway. So something else is running underneath this, and it might be hiding inside the very thing you're proud of. Let's clear up a flattering idea first, because it's wrong. Being smart does not make you lonely, and having few friends is not proof that you're smart. So the two things aren't glued together the way people imagine. But feeling separate isn't nothing. Your brain treats being cut off from people as a real threat. It shows up as a low, steady ache you can't quite name. You feel it most in the small moments. Someone at work invites the group for drinks, and you almost say yes. Then a quiet voice inside runs the numbers. Too loud, too shallow, too much effort for too little. And you hear yourself say, maybe next time. That's the thing to notice. It isn't that you can't connect. It's that a filter runs in the background of every conversation. It sorts people fast, quietly, before you've even decided anything. And the sharper your mind, the faster that filter fires. So the first place to look isn't your intelligence. It's what your mind is actually screening for. The first thing that filter screens for is depth. You want a conversation that actually goes somewhere. Someone asks how your weekend was, and you say fine. They mention the weather, then the traffic, then a show everyone's watching. To most people, that easy back and forth feels like warming up to you. It feels like standing in line for a door that never opens. You're waiting for the real conversation, and it never arrives. But here's the part that traps you. Almost every friendship begins in that shallow water. The small talk isn't the friendship. It's the on-ramp that lets one slowly form. When you skip the shallow end, you skip the only entrance there is. And it gets narrower still. The things that light you up are often things few people care about. You could talk for an hour about how memory rebuilds itself. Most people just want to talk about the weekend. So the doorway that fits you is one fewer people walk through, but wanting depth doesn't explain all of it. There's a second cost most people never even count. That second cost is energy, and it's easy to miss. Deep focus burns fuel. Spend a day analyzing and solving, and your mind ends up quietly drained. The same tank that powers your thinking also powers your patience with people. So by evening, there's almost nothing left in it. And here's what most people never account for. Friendship isn't built in one great conversation. It's built by showing up again and again in small, ordinary doses. A researcher named Jeffrey Hall at the University of Kansas actually measured this. In a 2018 study, he found it takes roughly 50 hours together to turn an acquaintance into a casual friend. And around 200 hours before someone becomes a close one. Those hours aren't dramatic. They're coffees, walks, and phone calls that go nowhere in particular. That's the part your mind resists. A bond isn't chemistry you find once. It's upkeep you keep paying, week after week, and upkeep is exactly what a drained brain can't afford. So watch what actually happens on a Thursday. You made plans days ago, and you meant them. Then the day empties you out, and the thought arrives. Not now. You text something soft about being tired, and you cancel. You tell yourself you'll see them soon, but soon keeps getting rescheduled, and the hours never add up. The friendship doesn't end in a fight. It just quietly starves for lack of time. And even if you fix the depth and found the energy, a third force is already at work, one that rejects people before they ever get close enough to count. That third force is your standards, and they never sleep. Your mind is fast at spotting what's off in a person. You meet someone new, and within minutes you're taking notes. They exaggerated that story. They dodged that question. None of it is a crime. But your mind files each one as a reason to hold back. And it doesn't stop when they leave. That night, you replay the whole conversation, line by line. By morning, you've quietly decided not to text them. Here's what makes that so costly. Every filter you run cuts the pool of people smaller. Too shallow, too tiring, too flawed, one after another. Each screen looks reasonable on its own, but stacked together, almost no one survives all of them. And when nobody makes it through, your mind draws the obvious conclusion. It decides there's simply no one out there who fits, that the problem is the world, not the screening. And slowly, that starts to feel like proof you're meant to be alone. But here's the twist: almost nobody tells you. The filter isn't broken. It's aimed at the wrong target entirely. Closeness was never built on matching minds. It's built on being seen while you're imperfect, because you've been searching for the right person. Someone smart enough, deep enough, interesting enough to finally fit. You believed friendship was a matching problem. Find the person who lines up, and the bond appears. But that's not how strangers actually become close. In 1997, a psychologist named Aron tested this directly. He put pairs of strangers together and had them trade honest questions. Each question asked them to reveal a little more of themselves. They weren't screened for shared interests or matching brains. They just took turns being open, one answer at a time, and by the end, many felt startlingly close. Some of the pairs stayed connected long after. What did the work wasn't compatibility. It was the risk of letting yourself be seen. That's the ingredient your filter can't manufacture. You can't screen your way into closeness. You can only step into it by lowering your guard. And here's what stings. The guarding that protects your sharp mind is the exact thing blocking the door. Every wall you raise to stay safe also keeps everyone outside it. So the fix was never finding smarter people. It was letting a few ordinary ones actually in. So watch what happens the next time someone gets a little real with you. They drop the small talk and say something honest about a fear or a bad week. Your filter fires instantly, sorting them, looking for the reason to step back. That's the exact moment the whole thing turns on. You can analyze them and pull back to safety, like always. Or you can stay one beat longer and offer something honest of your own. Not a match, just an opening, because your small circle was never the verdict on your mind. It's simply the count of chances you let stay open. And that count is something you can change tonight in a single conversation. So a small circle was never a life sentence and never proof that something is wrong with you. It was only a count of doors, and doors can open. But here's the strange thing about that same restless mind. The moment the room goes quiet, it doesn't rest. It reaches back and starts replaying old moments you'd rather forget. That same filtering mind has one more habit. The second the lights go out, it drags up the one embarrassing thing you did years ago on a loop. The reason it waits for the dark is stranger than the silence. And it's on your screen now. Subscribe to Why begins for more strange reasons behind ordinary things.